Carnegie Housing Project. Kabir, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I appreciate
excited.
you. Yeah, I appreciate you taking time out of your day and rolling up here. As you can see, it's a very professional space. You know, we have.
I love it.
Yeah,
This is what true professionalism is. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I like to kind of start off these sort of interviews with charities with kind of a blunt question, which is, why should people care about the work that the Carnegie Housing Project is doing right now?
I feel like my bosses would have a different answer, but in my head, housing for low-income families and low-income individuals, which is what we work towards, is so crucial because you don't know when you're going to end up in that position. Where I believe that most of us are basically 1 or 2 paychecks away from ending up on the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. Like, you'll fall through the cracks pretty easily. And I can't remember if there was a study done, but like most Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck, especially with the cost of living being so high right now.
Yep.
Can you kind of touch on some of the main points the Carnegie Housing Project has been focusing on right now?
Yeah. For the past, so in 2024, we came out with a report called "This is not working" or "This isn't working," and that report, it was kind of clarified and finalized that we are now focusing on getting a confirmation of intent from the municipal, federal, and provincial governments to make 10,000 units of shelter rate housing for Vancouver city alone, just for the city, because there's enough statistics and data to support the fact that we could very well be exceeding 10,000 people who could be homeless soon. So we want 10,000 units of shelter rate housing. Shelter rate being right now $570. That could increase if the housing subsidy increases, but that's what we're focusing on. We need to increase the number of shelter rate housing units, and we need to increase the housing subsidy up to, I'm not sure the exact math, but $800 roughly per month.
Gotcha. Okay. It sounds like it's really tried to be proactive.
Yeah.
Right before the number gets,
Yep.
because it's already like when you go to the downtown east side, like, you know, everything seems like in very bad condition. Like, people, you know, are living without houses. And that is a incredibly important issue for obvious reasons. Is there a specific mission you guys are working on right now? And actually, before you answer that, I totally forgot that we have Ruby on the podcast today.
Hello.
Ruby's first time.
Yeah.
Ruby is the main organizer for Champions of Hope. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to sit here. It's okay.
But yeah, I think Ruby knows about the mission a lot, and that's why you chose this charity for the upcoming show.
Yeah.
Before you answer like your question, can I ask you, like, why did you pick Carnegie Housing Project?
I mean, personally for me, like, I'm going into social services and social work, and like my area would be like advocacy, especially with like the unhoused community. So I've been following you guys for a while now, like at least a couple of years, and it was just kind of like, oh, that's exactly what like I would go into personally. So kind of now having the opportunity to like highlight a charity program, it was like you guys were like the first thought in my mind of like, especially over the winter, with you guys going to City Hall and like creating that entire platform of going against the budget and everything. It was kind of like, all right, let's keep the keep it going, just like highlight more as much as we can. And I think like having that opportunity from being like a backseat fan to being like, okay, I get to like, I don't know, help provide in whatever way I can.
That makes sense. And thank you again for choosing us. So
Yeah. And I think advocacy is one of those things that I think, at least in my opinion, kind of gets pushed under the rug because it's not like in your face work. Like, it's not like I am helping this one person, here's a case study. It's like I'm advocating for like systemic changes in the system that's causing people to deal with all these kind of negative aspects of Vancouver.
Right.
Can you kind of explain why advocacy is so important, especially right now? Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah, advocacy. I think there's like different types of, and again, I don't call it advocacy per se, I call it organizing. And there's different types of organizing. And with my own background being in labor organizing, and then moving towards housing, and now towards housing policy organizing. Organizing is always kind of like you're organizing through the peace times to make sure that, okay, when you're on strike or when there's an emergency, you have the correct base prepared to take action. That is the ultimate goal. With Carnegie, and which is why, again, I guess advocacy is the right term about how we got there in the first place. But we have that. And so, like, and then we also have the fact that because of the real estate, like the history of real estate in Vancouver, it's just not, many people argue that it's not feasible to make affordable housing for folks who are on welfare or disability. So we're already in that situation. So, and the solution we have known for like 40 years. If you talk to my boss, Jean Johnson, she's been talking about this for 50 years before we even reached that stage. So she was actually the one who was doing it proactively. She and her colleagues, be it Libby Davis or Wendy Peterson, all of these really, really strong women who are leading the organizing, who have been leading the organizing for 30 to 50 years. So
Yeah. And it's a very interesting thing that you brought up of kind of how we got here to, and you both kind of work in the same line of work. Like I also work in a group home for mental health and substance abuse, but you guys, I kind of feel like are on the front lines. So I'll ask you first, but how do you think that we got here?
Long answer, I'd say in the 1990s when the federal government stopped basically funding public housing in Canada specifically, so-called Canada. You see in 92, and this is based on the the federal government's data, the funding priorities for social housing across the country goes down, and we see a drop, like a significant drop in the chart of how many social housing units are being built. And then you also have the idea of like what is social housing change over time, where any kind of housing project which is getting any kind of funding from, be it municipally, provincially, or federally, that is now called social housing. So there isn't a specific cap. Provinces have their own definitions what what a monetary cap is in a rent. BC has the Hills, which is the income adjusted rate for rent, which is 30% of your income should be going towards your rent. So if I make, say, I don't know, like 6,000 a month, so 2,000 should be my rent. That would be their specific definition. But that's very different from somebody who's on welfare subsidy, right? Or a housing subsidy, where the cap used to be, I think, when our reports started coming out, at some point there were $350 for shelter rate housing, and then right now it's $570 for shelter rate housing. But then there's also a big gap between that, where you could have housing which is $1,000, which is still technically below market, and then you have housing that is $570, which is shelter rate, and then between that $500 gap is a gap between life and death for many people. And then in the 90s, we kind of stopped acknowledging that gap. Everybody who was poor was kind of put into this one overarching blanket. That if you're affording $1,000, you're poor. Anything below that, you're poor anyway.
100%.
But yeah, that's okay. That's not a problem. That's what the federal government is essentially saying. And now, right now, if you're able to afford anything above $1,500 or $2,000 a month, then you're okay. Right? The poverty margin has actually increased. Where we're like, okay, below something now is poor in at least the municipal government's
The number's going higher.
So, but the shelter rate has remained the same at $570.
So it hasn't been adjusted.
Or has been in the same range of $350 to $550.
So it's never been adjusted due to inflation and cost of living and all those things. Oh, okay, I see.
So that's one thing. That's like one aspect of it, but also the fact that they just haven't built enough for actually people who are struggling, and like housing hasn't been prioritized as a basic human right for about 30 years. And one of the earliest conversations I had in this field while working with my boss, where I'm from India, and she asked me, how is it in India? And I was like, well, homelessness is and always has been a serious issue since our independence. But at the same time, in the 50s and 60s, because of the socialist policies that India had, we had a lot of housing being built. So you have government housing left, right, and center everywhere, and actually not enough government employees fill those housing in. And so they can actually sell that housing to a non-profit or a private developer.
Gotcha.
And so most countries that followed it's not a Soviet style, but a socialist model of governance.
Yeah.
They built a lot of shelter rate housing, or not shelter rate, but social housing.
Yeah.
So at some point, Canada decided arbitrarily or electorally, that's not a priority.
Yeah.
And now it's biting us back in the ass.
Yeah. And now
Yeah.
we look at the downtown east side, and that's as a result of those decisions that happened 30 plus years ago. Yeah. Wow. I actually never knew that they never adjusted that rate for inflation. That is actually really crazy. Ruby, since you're also in the same field on the front lines, like working on the downtown east side, like from your perspective, especially as a young person too, like how do you think that we got here?
I know it more on the end of like the discussion would be like homelessness. I know it more on the end of like the drug policy aspect of it all. And that goes back in like Canada alone, that goes back 100 years. And that's just never changed. And Canada's always been punishment over rehabilitation forever in the drug policy world. And especially coming out of like 2016, having the the toxic drug crisis happen, and just no change. And I think the most recent thing for us now is the decriminalization pilot project being taken away. It's just kind of having that as an extra struggle on top in like kind of our state on the downtown east side, and just having that like the push of just more and more punishment to just add more and more police, and just like completing that cycle of just arrests back to just, not getting housing, back to the streets. And I think that we got to this point by just like kind of blaming it on the individual. Everything, it's not, I don't know, like governments in all levels have kind of blamed it, not as a policy issue, but as an individualistic issue. And clearly, if you look at a drug policy with prohibition, they honestly believe that is the course of action. It has been 100 years and it has only gotten worse and worse. And I think we're continuing that. That is what they believe, especially now with our BC provincial government taking away decriminalization. We're just going to see probably even more effects of it and worsening of it. Not only on the edge of like deaths in drug policy and all that, but like just an increase in like people on the streets, because like they're struggling, the drug supply is unsafe, and unfortunately the most resources that they can get is on the downtown east side. And there's no one really to help there but the community that is on the downtown east side. But even then, the staff and the frontline workers on the downtown east side, we need more than what we're getting. And so we're kind of like stretched out trying to like help these people. But as of now, it is one of those things that have like, this has been going on for a century. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen unless we make those changes.
Yeah, like kind of extreme policy changes with the proper leaders in place. What would you say to someone who, because I feel like a lot of people, especially like around my age and like younger, are kind of just like, it's never going to get better. Like it's hopeless, like, blah, 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 all those things. Like what would you say to those people, and what is something that you can kind of provide to show that there is changes being made slowly but surely?
I think we're all the same age over here. So I'm struggling myself. Like I have to be consoled by my boss that no, things will get better.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, nah, things are gonna burn down pretty quickly, or should be burned down pretty quickly. But yeah, I think Ruby, as you said, like there are good folks in the government who give some hope. And again, organizing 101, you celebrate little victories, right?
Yeah.
Every small victory, you go out and party. In the downtown east side, we've been partying for 11 years on the victory that was the local area plan. That's not true. The local area plan wasn't even acknowledged as a victory until the city. For context, local area plan 2014, after like 3 years of organizing and struggle, the city acknowledged that we need special zoning policies for what is called the downtown east side Oppenheimer district. And we will not allow a developer to build more than 10 stories. We will not allow rent to be above a certain amount. We will not allow market condos to be sold in downtown east side. You can have market rate rents in some units, and the shelter rate would be fixed, and every unit would have 33. Every 100 units would have 33% at shelter rate, 33% at Hills rate, and 33% at below market rate. Right, that was the zoning that was achieved in 2014, and then in 2023 they proposed to remove that. And in 2023, people realized, oh shit, this was a victory back in 24, like what we got as local area plan.
Yeah.
We should have been celebrating that.
Yeah.
So now we're going to celebrate it
Yeah.
and organize towards preserving it.
Yeah.
And then we lost it in December. So that is, I guess, a failure and a success both, where we got something, didn't celebrate it enough, and then the city was like, nope, we're taking this away and imposing something much worse, and they succeeded in doing that. But even in that process, we celebrate the fact that we got people out to the city hall to speak against this new zoning. So I think what people should be able to look forward to is, of course, collective effort, but celebrating every small victory. That's kind of what keeps people running. And they're like, you know what, I had a good night that one time where we got 160 people to speak, and I got drunk later that night, and it was fun. And yeah, we should do it again.
Yeah.
While aiming for something higher and better. And yeah, that's...
Yeah. And that's an amazing win. And I'm sure for the span of that time that was in place, it helped a lot of people.
For like 3 days of public hearing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and
that's so crazy.
Nobody spoke in favor of that. Like, I was there for all 3 days of public hearing. First of all, the second day of the public hearing, this is crazy, right? Like, I am there with a lot of people I already know. Like, out of the 160 people who spoke, I knew about 80 people who were speaking, because we had like helped either organize them or they were helping us organize people. And so everywhere I saw, I was with friends, essentially. And we're in City Hall. Jade, a friend of mine who works in a nonprofit in downtown east side, she and I, we enter, and we are number 81 and 82 on the list. And the council, when they get to speaker number 80, they also raise a motion. It's like 5 p.m. at that point. They're like, and the hearing is supposed to go until 9 p.m. that day. And they say, you know what? I don't think we have enough quorum, so we're going to shift this to another date. And have it throughout the day on that day. So have it from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on that particular day. The whole point of having a public hearing from 4 p.m. onwards up until...
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Because initially 300 and something people had signed up to speak.
Yeah.
And only 160 got to speak. And if you look at the first 2 days, they already also did this on the first day, by the way. First day, they ended a bit early. We got through maybe 50 speakers in the first day, where we could have gone through, I think, 80 as per my calculations. We only had 4 hours of hearing on that day. We were going through maybe 10 speakers per hour. Yeah, roughly. And second day, they do this. And third day, because not enough people can come, we only got about additional 100 people coming and speaking.
Just still a lot of people.
Instead of 250 that could have spoken that day.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. So explain this to me, because I'm very ignorant about the way kind of the system works, and I don't know if there's going to be people watching who might want to figure out. But like, if there's a motion where you have like 200 plus people showing up every day to speak against it, how does that motion get passed on the government?
I feel like if you had asked somebody this question 10 years ago, they'd say that motion does not pass.
Yeah.
because so many people have spoken against it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. I think 10 years ago as well, nothing was different. I'm sure this city had bad city councils across its history, but technically, the whole point of doing a public hearing is to is to have it on record that people were for or against an actual motion,
Public consensus. Yeah.
public consensus in a democratic fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So this city council knows it very well, especially the past like 4 months alone. The budget was like the height of it, right? Where 600 people are coming and telling you that this budget is childish, right?
Yeah.
Like a fourth grader could make a better budget.
Yeah.
You cannot have a 23-page budget
Yeah.
for a city municipal government
Yeah.
with a $2 billion budget,
Yeah.
$2 billion like funds to allocate. They did it anyway. They passed that budget anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't care. That's kind of where we're at.
And they pass it because, and again, like I'm super ignorant with the way
Mhm.
politics works. So they pass it because there's municipal people who are elected who vote on the motion.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah,
that-
so you have a city council
Yeah.
and you have the mayor.
Yeah.
Right now, as things stand, there are 6 councillors. This council hasn't achieved much. And they've kind of demonstrated how you can waste money and achieve nothing.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys seen the $2 million for fireworks thing?
I saw that on the news. Can you explain a little bit about what's going on there? And you as well, Ruby, if you know about it.
You
yeah.
want to go first?
No, you go.
So every year, I guess, every year in November, you have the fireworks festival that happens.
Celebration of Lights.
Celebration of Lights.
Yeah.
Which happens along the English Way.
Yeah.
And this year they've decided to cancel that and instead want to do one day of fireworks, a firework night for $2 million. At the same time, this is happening at the same time as, before that. Usually, and I think it goes on for a week, right?
Mhm.
Fireworks thing. That costs $1.6 million for a week of fireworks. They scrapped a week of fireworks for one night of fireworks and are putting in $2 million for one night.
People can do basic math, but you can also go walk down a few blocks from English Bay and see the state of the city and be like, should we really be spending that much money on a fireworks celebration? People are literally dying from a horrible drug supply in our city. Yeah, like that's super, super crazy.
And just to be clear, I do not endorse any party. I'm not a party member of any place. I can't legally vote in Canada.
Mhm.
So I have zero stake in this. It's purely, like, literally just professionally. This is what's frustrating me, right? Like, we're asking for money to build housing, and we have money to burst firecrackers,
Mm-hmm.
which is also definitely bad for the environment.
Yeah.
Least of all. And, we have money to do everything but build housing.
Yeah.
There's some really good nonprofits out there who have done the work for us. Like there is Movement Vancouver, Movement YVR. They, and I know you can interview them and they'll talk more about their own work. But they have like report cards for different councillors and.
So it just kind of simplifies everything.
Yeah.
Into, that's interesting. Because I was looking at some of the counselors and I kept getting confused because there was so much stuff to read.
Yeah.
So that's like great. What's it called?
Yeah.
Movement
YVR.
YVR.
Yeah, they're transit-based like nonprofit. They advocate for ultimately free public transit, but also like more transit lines across different regions. And good people.
That's awesome. I know before we hopped on the podcast, me and Ruby were talking. I think Ruby had a bit of a question for you regarding the FIFA. Was it? Yeah.
So you're doing the town hall as your FIFA town hall?
Yeah.
Just for like, I mean, I know a little bit about kind of like what we're expecting with FIFA coming in, but do you want to expand on that a little bit?
I mean, this town hall is kind of happening because we don't know what we're expecting entirely, but what we do know that we're expecting. Last year, the statistic came around that we're expecting about 350,000 people visiting BC. That's the population of Vancouver. Like, Vancouver is a small city. So 350K people visiting BC across 6 weeks. I don't think that number is accurate. I think it's going to be way more.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think people are going to stay in that 6-week period only. People will come before, people might stay after. A lot of tourists, basically. So, again, no tourism on stolen land. That's a basic principle of like settler colonization or opposing settler colonialism. So we know that statistic. We know that there's going to be a lot of new bylaws being placed in the 2-kilometer radius of BC Place Stadium, where the games will be happening. Vancouver is, I think, hosting 6 games of FIFA, 4 group stage games and 2 knockout games. And we're hosting teams like Australia, one European team, potentially, and we're hosting 2 Canadian games, so 2 games for Canada. So we're going to have a lot of fans visiting Vancouver for these games, home and away. So from across Canada as well, folks will be coming in.
Yeah.
BC Place will have a 2-kilometer radius of what is called a FIFA fan zone. That 2-kilometer radius includes downtown East Side and Chinatown. Right, you can walk to, like, from my office in Carnegie, you can walk to BC Place in under 20 minutes. I've done that walk, and it's a very straightforward walk.
Yeah.
As a result of that 2-kilometer zone radius, you're going to have a lot more security and a lot more cops in the streets. We can expect, and we can be almost certain that there will be a lot more sweeps in downtown East Side. And this is like based on not just what happened in 2023, but also based on what happened in 2010 Olympics, the Winter Olympics, where the organizing for that was very strong. From the downtown East Side, you had 4 years of people just organizing, and because the Olympics was being held further up north as well, you had people organizing all over the province. I think FIFA is uniquely a Vancouver and at best Burnaby and North Vancouver situation, because you'll have fans living in the suburbs as well to come watch the games. We know that street vending already has a lot of like bylaws around it without FIFA. They're adding more bylaws around street vending in downtown East Side. And then we know for a fact that the province is not ready to acknowledge that people outside of downtown East Side use drugs.
Yeah.
And we have a very unsafe drug supply.
Yeah.
And you're going to have fans coming in from God knows where in Europe and Australia, potentially South America and Africa, who you may or may not be using drugs.
Yeah.
Or might be trying it for the first time. Who knows? And they're going to stumble across our unsafe supply. And we're going to have a lot of problems in the hand. Otherwise, we're going to have a major health emergency. But the province is not willing to acknowledge that right now. As of like right now, maybe they will in a week or two. But right now they aren't talking about it. So these are all the things we know. That's what we want to talk about at our town hall. We'll have folks from, this isn't confirmed yet, but we will have folks from Pivot Legal Society speaking there. We'll have folks from Power, Police Oversight with Evidence and Research. They're the ones who kind of brought me into the downtown East Side organizing scene. They'll be speaking there. VanDew, the Vancouver Area Network of Drug Users. They'll be there. We might have somebody from the BCCLA speaking there, the Civic Liberties Association, and somebody from Carnegie Housing Project. So it'll be a panel-style town hall and then discussion with the audience. So we can find out more about what FIFA is doing, or FIFA could be doing, what we can do about it, what we can expect, and how do we continue organizing for the next 4 to 5 months about this specifically. And we'll hear more about the budget of FIFA as well, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
yeah, that's going to be definitely a crazy time in, I think, Vancouver and city when the FIFA does.
Yeah.
When do they plan on coming again? Because I'm out of the loop there. When does FIFA plan on coming to North? Like, when are the games?
The games start on the 11th of June. Go on until the 14th of July. I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But again, you can expect fans to start coming in 2 weeks before.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah. And I mean, from where we are right now, not without disclosing the information of where we are right now. along Hastings Sunrise, we will have a fan zone. So the Hastings Park, right next to PNE, that'll be like a fan zone. So we will have a lot more fans in East Vancouver actually, compared to maybe downtown or West Vancouver, or like west side of Maine. Yeah. So there will be a lot of chaos because again, transit-wise, we're not prepared. Health-wise, we're not prepared. In terms of policing, another thing we know, because VPD isn't enough, the city of
Yeah.
yep, and there's talk of like multiple RCMP units from within BC being replaced or like repositioned from interior to lower mainland. That's unconfirmed, but yeah.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the work that you guys are planning to address at the town hall hearing, which is, you say, is it a day before the
26th of February at 5:30 p.m. at the Carnegie Theatre.
Carnegie Theater? Okay, so for anyone, and anyone can attend, right?
Yeah. Free entry. You just walk in.
So say it again, where it is and what time?
26th of February, 5:30 p.m. at the Carnegie Theatre at the Carnegie Community Center, 401 Main Street.
Perfect. And then if you, like, can anyone speak at those hearings, or is that...
It's not a hearing per se, right? Like it's a panel discussion.
Oh, a panel
happening.
discussion.
Yeah.
You can ask questions.
You can ask questions, for sure.
Gotcha.
Anybody can come in and ask questions around FIFA. Yeah.
Perfect.
And quite likely that everybody will together say, we don't know the answer.
Yeah.
And then we go together to the city and ask together. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's... When I hear about, like, advocacy projects, and then, like, you know, when I think about Vancouver, I just think of, like, kind of the mountain that people are climbing in order to address, like, some serious systemic issues.
Yep.
That's been happening for years. And I think, you know, just now, I think recently, especially post-pandemic too, like, people are starting to become a bit more attuned to, you know, what's been going on around them, especially, like, in society. And I think for people, you know, our age and people younger too, like, for them to know that, you know, you can go to a town hall panel and ask questions. I think those are very powerful things that people know that they can do, so that you know that you can do your part in this whole thing, right? Because I think, you know, there's a lot of people our age and younger who just have kind of, you know, not given up, but have kind of just been like, you know what, like, I can't do anything. Like, things are so horrible, I can't even think about it. But it's important for people to know what they can do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys are kind of working on right now that you kind of want to share about and talk about?
We're planning on not starting, but we're joining an existing coalition, a federal coalition of folks across Canada who are asking for shelter-rate housing or social housing. And yeah, that's like part of our newer strategy that we're trying to adopt. That alone as Carnegie Housing Project, we might not have that kind of power that you need to shake up a government, but a federal coalition, quite possible. Yep.
That's awesome.
That's kind of what we're working towards. No other events. We might have something coming up with UBC in March, at the end of March. No, that would be April. In March, we have potentially under the town hall for food scarcity in downtown East Side. Yeah, because now we have Sunrise Market shutting. I'm not shutting, but they're trying to sell.
Yeah.
And they will probably be able to sell in the next few months. Because of the new rezoning that happened, it's much easier to sell and for a higher profit. So it is profit-wise a good time to be selling. And then you also have London Drugs, which is shut down. And there might be a VPD Academy opening there.
I read that,
Which is, sure.
Yeah.
It's beyond infuriating. It's laughable. Like, yes, that's exactly what we need now. We need nesters, and right across that VPD Academy.
Yeah.
In the downtown East Side. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, for those who don't know, Sunrise Market I think it's a market that's been around for a long time. That's kept their prices relatively stable. with inflation, and a lot of people on the east side rely on that food supply in order to get affordable groceries, which is nearly impossible to get these days.
Yep.
And obviously the owners have done so much work for so long, and now they want to sell, which is like, a completely fair thing. But that leaves a whole other problem of like, well, where people are going to get good, decent food at a decent price, right?
Yeah. Right now, the business is for sale and not the land.
Yeah.
But it's all left up to speculation because of the rezoning. The family might just be like, you know what, the business we're selling for $4.5 million. The land itself could be valued at double that.
Yeah.
And so totally you could be looking at a profit of 15 to 20 million.
Yeah.
If you sell.
Yeah.
So it's up to them, obviously. Like this family has served without any for a long time. They've been working at a loss for a long time.
Yeah.
They've been relying on their tofu business instead. And nobody's like hating them for it.
Of course not.
But people are definitely worried about who would buy it and what would come up instead over there, where you could very well have a 32-story
High rise
come up there with minimum shelter rate housing or social housing, and a Nesters or a Loblaws at the bottom.
Yeah, with just insane prices for groceries. Yeah, that's definitely not an ideal situation, and it's and the London drugs thing is just crazy because I read that too, and it's just like, adding these new things to the downtown east side, doing anything but helping the people who live in the downtown east side is just always baffling. Can you tell me more, just some more like little victories you guys have had over the last few years?
Yep. I think a victory that we had in coalition with a few other organizations was that the CLT was lodged. CLT is the Community Land Trust. It's not a model unique to Vancouver. What the model does is that it allows a group of people to come together and own the land together. It's a model that was started in the States in the state of Georgia, by African American farmers who were basically facing abuse and like harm from white landlords, and they said, okay, we're going to come together, buy this land together as a community. Similar concept as a co-op, but a bit different, where co-op societies, they run the building itself and they might not own the land.
Mm-hmm.
The CLT allows for you to own the land, and then you can lease it to a co-op at minimum pricing. And so the CLT owners could be in the co-op for minimal rent as well. They could be on the board with a 2/3 majority, anything like that. So it's a really like people-friendly model. It's not a profit-based model.
Yeah.
Hogan's Alley is a very good example of like where that's really working as well, with the Nora Hendricks place. So downtown Eastside CLT, we kind of worked with them to get the Powell Street rooms SRO, which used to be a privately owned SRO that the CLT bought last year. And we campaigned around education for the CLT. What does it mean to have a CLT? All that, what I just told you basically. For about 2 years, that campaign was ongoing. Finally, last year, they bought it. Big victory. It's not being publicized a lot because it's like one SRO, right? Like 70 rooms out of 10,000 that we want.
Yeah.
So, but we are celebrating it internally, and we like really are happy. Like something good is finally happening, and the rent would be something like $500 per month for a family.
Yeah, I mean that's huge. Can I just say that? Like that's huge. Like 70 people's lives have been changed for the better. Like no matter how big the number is that you need, like that's a huge win. Like congrats on that.
So, and I mean, again, all credit to the CLT team actually.
Yeah,
we were just like helping out with the education stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Community Land Trust team is incredible. Primarily made up of people who live in SROs or urban indigenous, and a lot of folks who are like either elders or seniors. They've done really good work on this. Out of the recent victory, we had a really good rally in February last year, which is where I met the Carnegie Housing Project team for the first time. It was in opposition to, again, a motion that is being passed by the city. And have you guys heard of the Trojan horse in Vancouver story?
No, have you?
I don't think so.
No.
So the city council basically was proposing, and they passed a supportive housing pause, where they paused any new supportive housing developments that were being done.
I blanked. I did know that. Sorry.
So yeah, like we don't have supportive housing
Yeah.
right now. Like we don't have any new supportive housing
Gotcha.
being built because of something that happened in February last year. So at the end of February, we had a rally outside City Hall, and people, like the community, got together and built a Trojan horse, like a life-size Trojan horse,
Yeah,
like the one you see in Troy, the movie, that kind of Trojan horse,
Yeah.
and pulled it up to the City Hall. I said that this is what you're giving us. Like you're saying that this supportive housing pause will help
Yeah.
downtown east side. That's a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that, okay, it's gonna like help in like tax cuts and whatnot. No,
Yeah.
that's a Trojan horse. And that rally itself was a party, because I remember I was in the food tent for that rally, and people were just like happy to be there. They're like, you know what?
I mean, there's just something so special when community gets together to support like a common goal, right?
Yep.
Because there might be some people who, are there because they know very well policies need to be changed. They know the organizations that are there. And then there's some people who just come because they just want to come, right? And
Yep.
that's also an amazing thing. People get exposed to that sort of like impact, right? That being a part of something greater than yourself, which I think is super important.
Yep.
So yeah, I kind of have one kind of last question for you. And how long have you been with Carnegie Housing Project, by the way?
6 months.
6 months. So
Yep.
yeah, you're relatively new
Yep.
in this specific organization. Which, by the way, thank you for the work you're doing. Like it's really incredible to see someone working so hard. I know you've only been around for this organization for 6 months, and maybe the people who founded it have a better answer. But I kind of wanted to ask you, as someone who's come into it recently, if Carnegie Housing Project's mission and all their work just kind of got wiped away, it's just gone, what would be the core message you would want to leave with the city of Vancouver?
Could you reframe that question? Like, if the
So like, let's say the work and
you
everything
have been doing,
yeah, you have been doing, it just kind of stops and every memory of Carnegie Housing Project just got removed.
Right.
What would be the core message you would want to leave?
the core, I feel like there could be so many. Housing for all. Yep. I think that's been consistent throughout. And like before we were called the Carnegie Housing Project, that rebranding happened relatively recently. In the past 7 years, we were called the Carnegie Community Action Project. CCAP was, and that was considered to be the spiritual successor of DERA, which is like the Downtown East Side Residents Association, which is there from even before that. So this is like, names have changed, but like in spirit, like as a group of organizers, people have been there for like 70 years,
Yeah.
right? Like Jean's generation, who's like now 82. You have people who are older than her who are organizing and have successfully like created a chain of like generations who are organizing in and around downtown east side. The consistent message has been historically housing for all, and it hasn't been like detached from human rights or sex work, for trans rights, for drug user rights, drug user liberation. So I think it's been tied through and through, but it's just that this core group of organizers is focused on housing in tandem with people who are focusing on other things as well.
Of course.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and two-spirited people. That was also hand in hand, right? Like we have the 31st or 32nd March coming up next week, and Carnegie is like the march starts at Carnegie. and it's been there throughout, with the sole message being that, okay, housing for all, but also we fight for everybody else as well.
Yeah.
So everybody else fights for us.
Yeah. Community and housing for all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really kind of beautiful in a way to see how like things in the organizing community, like everything's connected to one another. Right. Yeah. And somewhere along the line, like I think people somehow found a way to disagree that housing is not a human right. Right. Just as much as like food and clean water and things like that. So yeah, it's great to hear missions like yours who are, doing the hard work out there and in tandem with all the other organizations that you mentioned. Because again, like we are stronger together, right?
Yep.
We know that for a fact, because of all the little victories you guys have had, right? And I just wanted to kind of ask Ruby if there was any more questions that you might have for the Carnegie Housing Project.
Ooh. I don't think so, but I have been really enjoying talking.
I had a good time too.
So I'm happy to keep going.
Yeah, I sincerely appreciate you coming out here and spending time to talk with us, because again, like I think your work is so important, along with all the other organizations you mentioned. And to kind of recap, you have the town hall meeting on the 26th of March.
February.
26th of February. Can you say the location again?
Carnegie Theatre.
Carnegie Theatre.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's on the main floor of Carnegie Community Center. As soon as you enter, take a left.
Amazing. So yeah, go to that if you want to go support and ask some questions about what's coming up with the World Cup. And overall, like attend rallies, even if it's just to see some community and meet some people. Like it's still an amazing thing to do. And we obviously have our Champions of Hope show that's going to be raising money for this wonderful organization on the 27th, right after that town hall meeting, at the Mezzanine Soundhouse Studios. Doors are at 7, tickets are 20 online. So yeah, again, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm really excited. I've never been to the Mezzanine.
Yeah, it's a new venue that we just got a contract with to do a show there every month.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's like completely sound treated. The guy who runs it is like a sound engineer. I just interviewed him actually recently.
Oh, okay.
It's a very nice venue. There's going to be art vendors. There's going to be prize giveaways. There's going to be, you're going to be there, and hopefully we'll hear you speak a little bit about the mission. And there's going to be, a bar. Hopefully we'll try to see if we can get some food in there. We'll see. But again, like kind of like what you were saying about going to that rally and feeling like kind of like it was just like a party, people getting together. Like that's kind of what I want to show people who may think that things are hopeless. It's like, sometimes all you can do is just go to a show or show up at a rally, right? Or go vote, right? And just doing that is a million times better than, sitting there feeling hopeless, right? Because things aren't hopeless. We just kind of feel that way because of all the negativity out there right now. But again, it's organizations like you that keep that hope going, even when we lose hope. You know what I mean?
That's why you're the Champions of Hope.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kabir. Thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.